It's a sign life will soon look a little more normal. On February 14th, as a Valentine's Day gift to Ontarians, the provincial government announced almost all COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted by March. As of February 17th, all capacity limits in restaurants, bars, cinemas, and gyms will be lifted. For other settings, such as sporting events and concerts, a 50% capacity limit will remain in place until the end of the month.
The removal of these measures has always been our objective, and something we have collectively worked towards for months now. We started in January when we welcomed kids back to class and opened businesses. Since then, key indicators have steadily improved.
Come March 1st, these settings can all operate at full capacity and proof of vaccination will no longer be required in order to dine out at a restaurant or go to a gym. Businesses will be given the option to continue with vaccine passports if they choose to. Mask mandates will remain in place for now with no clear timeline on when they might be lifted. It comes as our neighbors south of the border are removing mask mandates but say they will return if case counts surge. Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the restrictions implemented were always meant to be temporary and were needed to soften the brunt of COVID-19 and saved countless lives.
We're able to take this step now because of each and every one of you, because of our nurses, our doctors, hospital workers, because of every single person who volunteered in a vaccine clinic, and every single person who played a part in this fight.
The news was welcomed by many who say it's time to start living with COVID-19, but others say restrictions should remain in place for a little while longer to protect the most vulnerable population. The restrictions are being loosened at a time thousands have protested an end to all COVID-19 mandates on the front lawn of Parliament Hill and at the Canada-US border crossing in Windsor. The Premier says these plans have been in the works for months and pressure from the demonstrators didn't change the timeline.
Despite the protesters, this plan was in place long before the protests were out there. And I wouldn't call them my supporters necessarily. I think it's a mixed bunch of everyone down there.
Calls to change proof of vaccination rules started around the Christmas season when Omicron started to spread across the province. Almost everyone now knows someone who's contracted the virus, including those who are fully vaccinated. The medical community is divided on the issue, with some saying this should have meant an end to the mandates a month ago, but others are saying proof of vaccination should have instead been changed from 2 shots to 3. Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore, says if trends keep heading in the right direction, that wouldn't be needed anyway.
We are now down the slope from the peak of Omicron activity. 92% of Ontarians 12 and over have received at least 2 doses, and 6.7 million Ontarians now have their 3rd doses. So we have the level of protection that we need to remove public health measures and have made terrific strides on reducing the risk.
Now, proof of vaccination will remain in place for healthcare workers, at least for now, including for long-term care workers here within the province of Ontario. But Dr. Moore does say he'd like to see an end to workplace COVID-19 vaccine mandates, including for students who attend post-secondary education. Charlie Siatuayan News, Ottawa.